Hey there, this is Heather. Just wanted to take a few minutes and give you my thoughts on some things going on. I'll give you a little bit of a background on why I'm doing this crazy stuff that I'm doing. I call this behind the mask. First off, the mask is honestly because of COVID-19 going around. I normally wear that when I'm out and about because it's really safe for keeping me from breathing in other people's germs. And if I'm out at protests, it also helps to keep the gas from getting to me, kind of like the other night. Still pretty sure there was tear gas involved in that. I just can't really prove it, but anyway, as far as why, I come from a family of writers. Both my parents are pretty good writers. My dad's written a variety of things, including being a freelance photographer and journalist for a local newspaper when I was a kid. I didn't realize back then just how much that would strike me now. News is vital to everyone's survival. And when I was growing up, we were still in the analog age. We were just starting the digital age. Computers were around, but we didn't have the internet. Nothing like we have now. So you still got your news from the local news channels, 2, 4, 6, 69, whatever was in your area. And that was that. Things have definitely changed since then. Media empires have built up around each other, absorbed each other. I now have, if it bleeds, it leads, sensationalization of all the news out there. And the news, as much as they may want to try, they can't give you the whole story. They're not there when news happens. They report after news happens. And anybody who wants to tell you a story is going to have a bias. It's an implicit bias that most people cannot control. It is important to be aware of your bias and to either acknowledge it publicly or try to minimize it. A lot of your media now seems to have more and more of a bias, and sometimes they are very blatant about it. I think what finally pressured me to start trying to record some of the things that I'm seeing is when I was watching live streams of some of these Black Lives Matter protests after George Floyd death. And I saw what appeared to be, by and large, almost completely peaceful protests. A couple of bad actors, which you're going to have in any sufficiently large group. And I would see the police come on to their bullhorn or LRAD or whatever, and then they would say, stop being unlawful. And then all of a sudden, the news would show up, right on time for their, 10 o'clock, 11:30 news, whatever. And they would hear what the police are saying, and then report that the protesters were being unruly. But I'm seeing it and saying, that's not quite the story. You're only getting half the story. So while I can't tell the news, I can at least show it and give my observations as best I can. I do have disabilities. It does complicate things, but sometimes some of those disabilities can be benefits in certain ways. So I'm trying to see what I can do to maximize the good, minimize the bad, and hopefully I can help give another voice to what's going on, and help return some truth in reporting. And if that ends up helping in other ways, so much the better. The last few nights have been kind of nerve-wracking for me, to be honest. I was at protests 2 nights ago, and the police did intervene after a few bad actors, maybe a half dozen out of a crowd of hundreds, started doing things that they weren't supposed to do. Yet the police went after everyone. And then last night I watched another fellow streamer on a live stream getting chased down and tackled by a cop. Her only crime? Not running away from the police fast enough. She wasn't engaging in criminal behavior. I don't even think she was engaging in civil disobedience at any point. But because she happened to be at the back of the crowd and had a camera pointed at the cops, they charged her, tackled her to the ground, and while she's screaming, "Please help me, somebody help me," they zip-tied her. We didn't hear for a full 18 hours that she was okay. We still don't know what's going to happen fully. But as I was thinking about that, it has chilled my desire to report, to speak out about what I see, especially with this police brutality that is rampant and ongoing. And the fact that my First Amendment right to be allowed to peacefully assemble and petition the people that I have elected to city council, to county offices, to state, to federal government, that I have helped to choose to represent me, do not listen when I and others like me say, this is something that is wrong, this is something that needs to stop. When I'm not allowed to speak out without fear of police officers chasing me down, when I'm in fear of, if I go to report, are the police going to shoot pepper balls at me just because I have a camera? I have spoken with other reporters and photographers and videographers, some of whom have been grievously wounded because of police actions. And while, to be frank, that scares the crap out of me, that should scare the crap out of a lot of people. And if I don't stand up and do what needs to be done to hold people who do things in bad faith and commit illegal acts, if I don't stand up and hold the spotlight of truth on them and do what I can to help make sure that the bad people are able to be held accountable, then who's going to? So, yes, I'm going to try to do what I can. I hope maybe this might encourage others to stand up as well for our rights. And if not, maybe I can at least get information out to even help change one person's mind about what's really going on out there. That said, I've taken up 10 minutes of what was probably a very important time for everyone here. So, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. It'll still be a few days before I'm ready to go back out again. But I do plan to go back out again. And hopefully be safe. You be safe too.